If you are a real estate investor and you want to get more money and funding for your real estate deals, don't go anywhere because I'm getting ready to plug you in. Well, hello there. Welcome to Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, known as the Private Money Authority, and I want to welcome you to another episode. If you're brand new, a very special welcome to you. Here on the show, we talk about all things real estate investing, from finding deals to getting your deals funded, to automating your business, to selling houses fast. We talk about single-family houses, commercial deals, self-storage, land, you name it. Before I bring on my special guest today, I've got a free gift for you for tuning in here to the episode. And that is, I just recently released my brand new book, which is titled Where to Get the Money Now, Where to Get the Money Now. And the subtitle is How and Where to Get Money for Your Real Estate Deals Without Relying on Traditional or Hard Money Lenders. So you can either go to Amazon and get it and pay $20, or you can get it from me for free. So I've got a special website for you to go to after the show. It's www.jayconner.com/book. Now, I am going to be totally transparent. I am going to ask you to cover a couple of bucks for shipping and handling, but the book is free. I think you'll get a lot out of it. Well, if you've been tuning into the show for any length of time, you know that I have amazing guests that come here onto the show. And by the way, if you are tuning in on YouTube or Facebook or whatever for this live episode, you're welcome to type in any comments or any questions in the chat for either myself or my special guest. Well, my special guest today is a native of Ohio, currently lives in Germantown, Ohio, with his wife of 17 years. They have 4 wonderful children. Well, he started in the real estate investing business all the way back in 1994 after going through bankruptcy. Well, he began in the real estate investing business by wholesaling properties. Then he merged into fix and flips. Well, since that time, he's been involved in over 1,500 deals, including fix and flips of single and multifamily rentals and commercial properties as well. He soon realized there's a big difference between just being in real estate investing and actually running a real business. So after multiple failures, millions of dollars in mistakes, and through personal tragedy, he was able to now build a true scalable real estate investing business. He now works as the CEO of his real estate investing business, but is operationally totally removed from the business as a whole. He does a very, very high volume of wholesale deals, which are all done virtually. He now spends his time helping others learn the real estate investing business, teaches them how to build and scale businesses, and shows them how to master their acquisition skills. And with that, I'm so excited to welcome to the show my good friend, fellow Mastermind member, Mr. Jerry Green. Hello, Jerry. Welcome to the show.
Hey, what is up? What is up, my man? So thank you, Jay. Thanks for letting me come on, buddy.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have you on. And we have got a good number of people that are tuning in live right now. And as I just said, if they have any questions, they can type in the chat, questions for you or myself. So a big shout out there to Richard and to Jenny. Thank you, Jenny, for the feedback on the book. Laurie, glad to have you. Richard Meyer as well. So everyone that's tuning in, glad to have you. Introduce yourself, say hello in the chat. So Jerry, let's start out. I mean, I want to talk about wholesaling virtual deals with you because you're an expert at that. You've done a lot of fix and flips. Of course, I've done a lot of those as well too. So we got a lot in common. But first of all, let's let everybody hear your story. What is the Jerry Green story?
Well, let me, just kind of take it back a little bit, Jay, on things. As you said there, I started in the business actually in 1994. So it's going on 27 years in the business. When I was actually put in, I always say I was put into the business, and I kind of tie that in with being in a position where I actually went through a bankruptcy back in about 1993. And then I was in a position where I literally had zero income on things. And if you remember back in those days too, Jay, I mean, we didn't get notices on our phones and stuff like that about Facebook alerts or anything else about events or, anybody offering anything. It was pretty well on TV or it was in the newspaper. So I heard about a real estate seminar in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was actually Charles Gibbons back in those days. And I went to that event and sat there for 3 days, listened to a lot of different things, and realized that I really wanted to do this business. But at the same time, I was like, like anybody does in this business when you first get started, wondering, how can this be true? How can you do this? And, I left that event trying to think what I wanted to do. Of course, one of the things I went back and done, Jay, first thing was ask my family what I should do. And what do you think they told me to do? Go out and get a job.
Right. They probably told you that real estate investing thing is a scam, nothing to it. You're going to lose your money. We call them the naysayers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's exactly what they said. It's like, go out and get a job. No, you just need to do that. You need the benefits and all this type of thing there. So anyways, I, looked at that and I said, okay, other people can do this. Why can't I do it? And at the same time, I thought, what do I have to lose? I just lost it all. So I decided to really, try to drill down on this. And interesting thing too, Jay, on this, I ended up hiring a mentor right after that when I met at that 3-day event. And a lot of people say, well, how did you hire the mentor? I actually borrowed my mom and dad's credit cards. Yep. And that's how I got started in the business. And then I started focusing on, really, I had to generate cash because I had to take care of my family. I put food on the table. So I started going out and wholesaling. This was over in Springfield, Ohio. And literally I went out and just started hitting the ground running from really property to property on things, Jay, just really total grind mode. And I was just finding deals, wholesaling, because I had to always call it chunk money. I had to put those chunks of cash into the bank so I could take care of my obligations. So, and that's really how it all started. And I started building from there and just continued to grow. Then I got into the rehab side of the business, continued to grow that, and went through a lot of different developments over the years as I moved forward, and kind of evolving, and a lot of mistakes. Okay, a lot of mistakes.
I can relate to that, Jerry, for sure. So let's go ahead and start taking a dive into virtual wholesaling, just to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about, because some people have different definitions of wholesaling. What is your definition of a wholesale deal, and what's it look like?
So a wholesale deal to me is really just looking at acquiring the deal. Now, a couple different things on this, Jay. One, I can turn around and actually just control the deal with a contract to purchase or an option to purchase. And then I can assign my rights in that agreement to another party. So somebody just steps into my shoes and takes over that. And all they do is pay me basically what we call an assignment fee for putting that deal together. Now, another way that we can wholesale too is we can actually do what we call like a double close.
Right.
So we can go in, we can find a buyer, we actually take title to that, and then we immediately sell it to another party. It could be, typically it's done a lot of times at the same closing table, or it might be within an hour or two, maybe a day afterwards. So that's typical wholesale. I'm buying low and selling low, but I'm creating that, I'm kind of that middle person. I'm marking it up a little bit more, and then still allowing enough meat on the bone for the rehabber or the individual that's going to buy it to rent it out to acquire the property. And that allows them to make money as well.
So your buyers of your wholesale deals are other real estate investors that may be a landlord, it may be a rehabber, and as you said, you're going to leave enough meat on the bone, in other words, enough profit for the other real estate investor that you're either assigning to or selling to, for them to do what we call taking the deal down and seeing it right on through to the end. Is that right?
100%. And you know what's funny too, Jay, though, is in today's market, we're finding a lot of our buyers too are owner occupants. Because, everybody thinks, the owner occupant doesn't have that cash. you got to throw that out of your head. There's a lot of them walking around with a lot of cash, and I love them even better than the investors because they'll pay more money.
Exactly. So, the area that you're investing in is, well, you're doing the virtual wholesaling. So how many different markets are you in?
So we're in Ohio, we're in Kentucky. We're also doing some deals in New Mexico and some in Indiana as well. Now we're getting ready to our path this year, our goal is to add 2 markets per quarter.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're really going to be scaling this business. So in a moment, I want us to talk about the steps involved in actually doing the virtual wholesaling business. But, whether you're wholesaling, staying in the deal, rehabbing, whatever you're doing, regardless of the business model that you got to find the deals, right?
100%.
Somebody's got to find the deals. And in this market, I've been full-time since 2003. So you got 9 more years on me, but since 2003 until today, I don't recall it being as challenging as it is today to actually find the deals because of low inventory, right?
Yeah.
I don't know about your market, but I assume you're facing some of the same challenges on low inventory, right?
Oh yeah, that's supply and demand is definitely affecting things. But what's interesting, Jay, too, though, is that we are very aggressive on the marketing side. So we are constantly pulling those leads out of, all the different markets we work within. We're heavily, hitting the marketing component over and over and over again. So that's one thing we're really good at. And also we're very good on the follow-up. So my acquisitions team is constantly working at, we have a marketing side of the business too. So.
Right. What's working the best for you and your team these days on finding sellers?
Well, Jay, and I want to make sure all the listeners understand this too, that you've got to test, each market's a little bit different on things. But for the last 20 years, the best producer for us has been direct mail.
Interesting. So what type of list do you like to direct mail to?
We use very simple lists. We do absentee homeowners, okay? And so here's why I like to look at the marketing, Jay, and this has worked really well for us, and I teach this to a lot of my students this way too, is a lot of people like to really complicate this. And I'm like, don't put a ton of filters on things. Keep it very basic. We do the absentee homeowners, and then that's our big bulk list. So we're hitting that every single week. Actually, we do 2 mail drops per week. So it's constantly boom, 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 over and over again. And that becomes our foundational piece of marketing. So everybody has to have like their foundational piece. And then we layer on top of that. So on top of that, we'll do cold calling. And then we also do additional, like very specialty lists, probates, inherited type lists, delinquent taxes. And we do those more with letters going out, and the rest is all postcards. And that creates a pretty consistent flow. We're averaging probably right around 100 leads or more a week.
Wow, that's a lot of leads. Fantastic. So any secret sauce to share on the look of your postcard, or what the postcard says, or how you get such good response to it?
I think a big thing on that, Jay, is keep it very simple and work off a principle. When it comes to marketing like this, you have what we call controllers, and you don't want to go in and change something completely. Like so many people go and they say, well, this postcard doesn't work, so I'm changing everything. Well, sometimes it's just, it might be just maybe changing a color a little bit, not changing the whole message, just something that gets more attention. So we rotate about 4 or 5 different cards through the cycle. So one, don't get to the point where you become too complacent. 3, anywhere from 3 to 5 different cards, do a rotation around on things. And then try to use something different that really sticks out. One of our best performing cards is, and a lot of people wouldn't believe this, it's actually a black postcard with white letters, and it sticks out from the rest. Yeah.
I got you. So you mail to the same list, you say 3 to 5 times. Is that like one drop per month to that list?
So what we actually, we do something kind of unique on this, Jay, is we do a rotation around what we call like a zone, different zones. So picture this, and this is great for anybody that's really just getting geared up on this. We basically go into any market, and if this is just you doing this and it's in your backyard, that's fine. You basically create that to be your farm area. And then we break that farm area up into zones. And then what we learned is we do a rotation of our mail around those zones. What I've found is a lot of people, especially people that are on limited budgets on marketing, what they want to do is a lot of times, a lot of the gurus will tell them, mail the same list over and over and over and over again. Well, how do you know that list is even a performing list? And they can burn all their marketing budget. So what we do is we do a rotation around, and then that rotation method works really well because then we can see some traction, Jay, of which zone is performing. And then that becomes which one's performing the best. Then we hit a second round on that one. And then it kind of goes the same way. We're just working it like a clock like that. And it works very well. We've been doing that for over 20 years. And we have consistently stayed close to 1.5% to 2% response rate.
Gotcha. So when you are direct mailing, to a market, how many would you say you need to be able to have in that market to mail to for the numbers to work?
I think that you're looking at, if you can get up somewhere of a list of around, even on the small market, 15 to 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you can pull some deals out of that.
I got you. Very good. Now, one thing that you mentioned in your bio as I was reading over that, and that is you have really mastered working with acquisitionists, finding acquisitionists, getting the acquisitionists trained. So absolutely. How about first tell everybody what is an acquisitionist and what kind of responsibilities does an acquisitionist have?
Absolutely. So what we look at is we hire people to come on as what we consider to be acquisition reps within our organization. And those acquisition reps, when they come on board, they're basically, their whole focus is to basically bring deals into the pipeline. So we have metrics that we look at, Jay, on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And my COO, Ashley, runs basically every morning she meets with the team on a Zoom. Right. And she gets on there, and every single morning she's looking at the metrics. And what we're looking at is acquisitions. We're looking at basically the number of calls they're putting in, the number of connections they're making, and then the number of offers that they're making. And we know that we've actually dialed this in, Jay, to what we call our success formula. And our success formula, it means that if we are following a sales process, if they're following my sales process, and they've been trained in that, then they should average 1 contract out of every 5 offers. Okay. So then what we can do, Jay, is reverse engineer that, and we know based upon that what they should start looking at regarding the number of contracts per month. So it's not uncommon for us to bring in 30 contracts in a month.
I got you. That's fantastic. So how about go over what's the checklist or what's the steps to having and running a successful virtual wholesaling business? What are the integral parts, moving parts?
I think the number one thing, Jay, right out of the gate is, first of all, it's the mindset piece. And that is, people have to be willing to understand that you actually can put deals together right over the phone with somebody. Mm-hmm. That is a big limiting belief for a lot of people. And I was in the same boat, Jay, for many years, because I did all the acquisitions myself for a lot of years, went on thousands of appointments. And I realized something, Jay, that I thought, well, if I can do this in the field, why couldn't I do this virtually? Mm-hmm. And it was really a limiting belief, really more than anything. And what I really tied it down to, Jay, was this whole virtual side of things was that when you go into a sales process, the biggest problem with most people is they stop the sales process. So if you think about it, we're talking to a seller on the phone, and then we have a great connection with them. We're flowing through things. And then all of a sudden we pull back to set up an appointment to take a look at the property. And what I've learned, and I train my team as well as others that I train in my acquisition side of things, is I've learned to just continue the flow of the sales process. So what we do then is basically just continue it like I'm meeting with you in person, and we just do that virtually. So to me, that's one of the key things right out of the gate. First of all, is mindset. Okay, you've got to change that. Then I really look at is you've got to understand your metrics too. That's a big component of things. And I know some of you listeners on here might just be doing it themselves. That's fine. Still measure your results, because if you measure those on a daily basis, you're going to understand where you need to improve at. And it's typically what I find, Jay, it's most of the time it's tied in to just either not enough leads, or it's a lack of something in the sales process that you're skipping a step. But if you really work on that, you can do this from anywhere. Then the other component I look at is understanding the operational side of the business. Mm-hmm. And looking at that, when it comes to wholesaling, you think about it, it's just a matter of executing everything in a virtual basis instead of doing it in person. So I look at it as like a production line process. That's how we look at our business. We look at, here's an assembly line that we have going on. So we look at anybody that's starting in the virtual wholesaling side, you just start looking at all the different moving parts within that business, okay? And what you start looking at is how we can basically execute that without us personally being involved in that in every area. So we just start assigning it out. Maybe we have some VAs. Maybe we have if we're doing a completely different market, we set up somebody else to be boots on the ground, okay? Where they'll go out to the properties. We have found, Jay, one of our big things is we just hire local inspectors wherever we go, and then they go out and they become our eyes for the property. So they're going out.
So you hire home inspectors, but you're not ordering a traditional home inspection, right?
No.
Right. What's your
awesome.
What's your arrangement with that's really a brilliant idea. I mean, who else better to look at a property than a home inspector, right?
Yeah.
But what's your arrangement look like with the home inspectors when they're like doing your eyes for you and like estimating repairs?
Well, what we do on that, Jay, is we have it set up where we actually, instead of them to have to do a big long report, we actually have a report already made up. And they just fill that document out. We actually have a whole inspection process that we share with our students. Like they go in, we give them the ad that they run. They actually find people that way. Then we have a little agreement with them that they sign with the inspector. And then we have a document they fill out. And we also detail in there how many pictures and what pictures to take. We require a minimum of 100 photos, and everything is just submitted electronically. And that's just done through that process over and over again.
So what is your criteria? In other words, in the sales process or in the process of acquiring this property or getting it under contract or whatever, What has to happen for it to now trigger and say, okay, we need our home inspector to go look at this house?
We actually do that on every single deal, Jay.
Whether the numbers look like they make sense or not.
Well, we have the acquisitions team has a built-in what we call range calculator into our system. Mm-hmm. So all we do is they go in, they get a lead comes in, they pull up the valuations. So I'm talking, let's say you're the seller on the phone. I'm talking to you right now. I'm pulling up the valuations, and then all they do is plug in the number into our deal range calculator, and then it spits out a range. And as long as that deal falls in with that range, they have a green light to lock it up. And then my COO never looks at anything until it's under contract. And then if she approves it, then it goes to the next step in the production line, and an inspection is dispatched out. And those inspections, Jay, typically our average we pay on those is $75.
Okay, well, you read my mind. I was gonna ask, what is the how much are you paying the home inspectors to do this report? My guess is they're probably not there at the property or the house more than 30 minutes, probably less than that, right?
Yep. Typically, it's total time in and out is typically about 40 minutes.
Yeah, because I was going to say it's pretty easy to determine once your home inspector understands what you're looking for. It's pretty quick to assess. Okay, does it need a roof? Does it need an HVAC? Does it need flooring? Does it need interior paint? Does it need exterior paint? Right?
Yep, absolutely. And then what happens, Jay, is once that comes back in, basically that lead, or that now that's a deal, it comes back in after an inspection, and then it's notified to my transaction coordinating. And then what Ashley does with the team is she does 2 or 3 deal reviews a week, and whatever's setting in the pipeline, she does a review, and each deal is reviewed within about 15 minutes. Then if it's okay, then it's pushed out to our buyers.
That's awesome. Let's see here. Dan asked a question that I think you just sort of answered, and his question is, Jerry, are you using the same specifications with your inspector that he or she would have using with mortgage companies? And you just answered that, where you really have a different report that they fill out.
Yep, we keep it real simple on things.
And it's not going to take nearly as long for them to fill that report out.
And Jay, this works. You know, I always tell people too, it doesn't really matter if you're buying to hold, if you're buying to fix and flip. The initial part of the process is all the same. Mm-hmm. Just what your exit strategy on the other end is your decision. So
exactly. And we got time for one more question before I get you, Jerry, to let everybody know how they can continue the conversation with you. And I apologize, I don't know how to pronounce the name, but the commenter quote, home inspectors as a, I'm not sure, ad hoc, I'm not sure what they're saying there, can also be colleagues in separate cities for the properties outside your own geographic area. Did you understand that comment, Jerry?
Well, let's see. Not really.
I guess they're saying you can hire people that you already know as well, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, I think people make it way too difficult on that side of things, Jay. And if you like, I'll tell you what, Jay. Here's something I'll do for you and your listeners. I'll provide you the information for the home inspector, our little package. Would you like that?
Wonderful. Sure. That would be very valuable. Well, with that in mind, Jerry, for those that want to continue the conversation with you about virtual wholesaling and all that kind of stuff, and to take you up on your offer of the checklist that your home inspector uses, how can they continue the conversation with you?
Well, one, they can reach out to me, guys, through my website right here that's popped up. It's thejerrygreen.com. You can go there. I do an acquisitions training, and I do what I call systems and operations event too. In fact, I'm doing one next week here right in my office. I have actually a group of people come in. We take 2 days through a complete setup of how we do our business on a day-to-day basis and kind of complete immersion. And then the other thing that you guys can do, you can reach me on Facebook. Okay, I'm right out there, Jerry Green, right in Germantown, Ohio. So hit me up on that, or you can hit me up on Instagram too, at the Jerry Green.
And for those of you that are only listening, Jerry spells his last name Green. There's no E on the end of it.
Yes, no E.
So Jerry Green, the Jerry Green, spelling green, Green, thejerrygreen.com. Jerry, thank you so much for coming on the show and offering the training, the free gift to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, Jay. Look, I'm always willing to help, and that's what I enjoy doing, my friend.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again, Jerry, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our upcoming mastermind meetings.
All right, buddy. Sounds good.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. Another episode of Real Estate Investing with Jay Conner. I'm Jay Conner, the Private Money Authority, wishing you all the best. And here is to taking your business to the next level. We'll see you on the next show.